Well, welcome everybody to the March edition of the podcast. When we last recorded at the end of February, spring had just started. The first shoots of spring had started to come through. But now spring is absolutely underway. The birds are singing, the first migrants are back, and the floodgates are about to open as those birds and those other wildlife pour in. Today we're going to be talking with my guest Alasdair about ospreys. Alasdair is the world's renowned expert, or at least on Foulshaw ospreys. And Liz has been out and about talking to some of the people who run and some of the people who are involved in our well-being project. So we're going to be talking about how nature helps us all with our well-being, and how being outdoors is so good for our own well-being. So first of all, welcome to Alasdair. How are you?
Hello, Joe. I am very well, thank you.
Now, Alasdair and I actually live next to one another across the Ginnel, and neither of us lives in Cumbria, and I sometimes water his plants when they're away on holiday. And the other thing about Alasdair is that his garden is this beautiful wooded garden in Lancaster, and he gets all the birds, and I get none of the birds. The last time I put seed out for the birds, it all sprouted. That's how few birds I get through my garden. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. What do you think?
I think you're gardening. That's the secret. We just let it go wild, and the birds take over, which is lovely, except at 4 o'clock in the summer when about 15 sparrows seem to be all sitting on the windowsill at once, just warming up at full volume.
Excellent.
But,
the sparrows chirping from your back garden is definitely one of the experiences of my garden. And the starlings.
We basically get every kind of bird in the world because the starlings impersonate them. It's
they do, don't they? Yeah.
Curlews and oyster catchers, and
especially those wading birds. Well, that's the ones I recognise anyway.
Yes. From
down on the estuary. So we're going to be talking in the second part about ospreys. Spring has sprung, migrants are back. The first Foulshaw osprey arrived back on its nest this morning, very fortuitously.
That was very, very well timed.
Yeah.
White YW, who is our male osprey, who is now 17, which is a good innings for an osprey, arrived back this morning for his 13th season at Foulshaw.
Fantastic.
So now we just have to wait for Mrs. to come back. But yep, he's been back. He's caught himself a fish. He's been on the nest. He's been digging little holes for the eggs and generally fettling it. So he's got right on with it.
Excellent. Okay, so first of all, Liz has been down on Walney Island talking to Jess, who works for the Bay Project, and who's been getting people out on the beaches and doing a whole raft of activities with them. Some people who really haven't been out very much and have been stuck indoors and have been kind of reinvigorated by getting outside onto those beaches and into nature.
Okay, so now that we're down by the beach, I thought it'd be really nice to really tune into the sounds around us. So we'll just be doing a little bit of a meditation, closing our eyes and listening to the birds, the ocean, the wind, and just seeing what different noises we can pick up so that when we go back, we can write about those noises and try and make a kind of bit of music encompassing the different things that we listen to down here. Okay.
So I'm joining Kay, Maria and Sam this morning, and Jess has just told us the kind of thing that you're going to be doing out on the beach today. But before you do that, could you just tell me a little bit about how you came to be on this project and what sort of things you've been doing?
Well, I joined because it's good to get out and about. It's good for your mental health and things, and to learn about marine life and the bay and start to appreciate the outdoors.
And what sort of things have you been learning?
About shark eggs. I didn't even know what one was until I joined this, and just learning to appreciate what's around you and to take that time to just stop and listen and look at what you're actually in.
And Maria?
I'm a single parent of 2 kids with special needs, so I joined the group as a volunteer to gain on-the-job training and experience. Since I've joined the group, I've learned a lot about the nature around us. I've seen how a lot of participants have improved the mental health. Every day is a school day. You learn lots about the environment around you.
And how has it helped you?
It's helping me on the track to employability when I'm able to become employed. At the moment, as I say, I've got 2 kids with special needs that take up a lot of time, and it's improved my mental health, to be fair, and doing a lot of the sessions alongside everyone else. It's been worthwhile.
And Kay, what sort of things do you think you've been learning?
We've been learning about landscape with pictures, taking pictures and then drawing from them, or we've been down the beach and we've been painting, learning a lot about the environment, which is really enjoyable, which I didn't know much about beforehand. And my mental health is improving, so I'm really pleased and grateful for joining the groups.
So, hi Jess.
Hi.
Here we are on Walney Island.
Yes, we are.
And I wonder if you could tell me what you're doing here, what your role is.
So my role is a nature and wellbeing officer for the Bay, a blueprint to recovery. And basically what the Bay is a natural health service. So it basically incorporates people who are struggling with their mental or physical or social well-being, and it's a chance for people to be either socially prescribed or self-prescribed to, I guess, our small friendly groups. But it's about supporting people through, I guess, when they've been isolated in the past, and really taking them on that journey, encouraging them to either go to other groups or to go into volunteering roles or to go into a job in the most ideal sense.
So what kind of people come along?
Mainly the project is targeted at people struggling with loneliness and isolation. There's been quite a few people who haven't left the house for 5 to 10 years. One of the participants that is currently coming on sessions actually hadn't even really left their room for 6 years and couldn't imagine leaving the house, to the point where now we've had a conversation the other week where they couldn't imagine not leaving the house. So it's nice to see that transformation. I guess the nicest thing is when you do see someone go from, I guess, a shell of themselves, and then through teaching different skills or about different species, or just showing a way to appreciate the world around us, over the weeks you see the shoulders kind of loosen up and starting to stand up straight, and you can see it in their physical body as well as like how they're interacting with others, that change within them. And I just think it's really powerful that nature can do that, and the support from the other participants in the group. Everyone's just very welcoming, which is lovely.
And can you tell me a bit, Jess, about the activities that you do with the group participants?
Essentially, we'll do anything connecting to nature. We do a lot of shore searches, so that could be like shark egg surveys or beach bingo, which is a way of like encouraging them to look at what's on the beach in a, I guess, more fun way. Done photography, painting, bushcraft skills, so that's fire lighting to knot tying to orienteering. Yeah.
Anything that gets you out.
Pretty much, yeah.
What sort of results, what sort of benefits have the projects brought to the group members?
There was one gentleman who was very socially isolated. I was the first person he'd met in person. I can't remember how many years now, but it was a lot. And so we'd met and did our registration in person in the library. And so that in itself was a massive step. And by the 10th week, we were doing bushcraft skills actually, and he'd really got the knot tying so easily, and other people were struggling. So then he kind of went into a kind of leadership role and showed other people, and you just saw that kind of build his confidence. And then the next week he came in and told me that he'd applied for an apprenticeship at BAE.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I don't want to lose people from my sessions, but also it's the full point of this is to have people moving on to progression. I mean, that's why we do it, isn't it? Obviously, some people who I work with do have chronic physical health issues where they're not going to be able to get into work again. So I guess in terms of that side of things, it's a really nice opportunity for people to just connect with people or connect to the environment and have that appreciation. But there is obviously getting people to go into volunteering and to work after never seeing themselves kind of taking that step and not having the confidence. That's really empowering.
It's fantastic. So it really is the Natural Health Service, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a really nice name for it. Yeah, so we're just back from the beach after having a little walk down and listening to the sounds. And we're just going to have a bit of writing and discussion, I guess, about the noises that we've heard, the different things that we've noticed whilst we're down there. And then we'll be finishing with, I guess, making our own little soundscape out of an ocean drum, the singing bowls and things like that, and just allowing a bit of a chance to play.
Okay, so just before you do that, I wonder if I could talk to you, Sam, Maria, Kay, about what this project has meant to you and how you've benefited from it.
We've been going down the beach, doing egg counts, like shark egg counts and litter picking, and just like being one with the outdoors and things like that. Like, and I've learnt to like appreciate the finer things, like not just like the litter and everything you see like negative about the beach. We've learnt to like look more closely at like what's actually there and, you know, feel it and you know, instead of just looking at it, you know, you hear everything and things like that. So I've learnt to appreciate a lot more.
Were you keen on nature before you started on this course?
Oh, it's definitely made it more interesting for me, yeah, because I really wasn't like an outdoorsy person like that. Like I wouldn't just go for walks and stuff like that. But now, yeah, because now I like see things I didn't used to see and hear things I didn't used to hear. You just used to go from A to B before, but now you actually stop and take it in. Because I used to be stressed when I went outside. So now this has taught me to like chill out and just take it in. It's helped a lot.
Sounds as though it's quite precious.
Yeah, I think so.
And Maria, would you say that's the sort of thing you've been experiencing as well?
Yeah, I think you pick up a new way of hearing and seeing what is around you. And you pick up on things that you usually wouldn't. I'd never really noticed the sound that the sea makes as it drags the pebbles up and down as the tide's coming in and out. And it's a beautiful sound, it really, really is. One that I can't miss now when I go down onto the beach. It's very obviously there, I just never picked up on it.
What's been your favourite activity?
Love going down to the beach. Love writing about it. Plus it's making me feel much more relaxed when I've been to a group, because we're all like a little family, and it really cheers us all up.
So you think it has changed your health?
It's changing it, yeah, definitely, because it's like nature, in it, and it's not like busy, bustling life. It's just nice to get out and about and be with people that appreciate the things that are around you, and you've got it on your doorstep.
And Maria, is this you've got two youngsters? Is this something that you're going to be introducing more to them?
I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of times I've come to a session and I've taken it home with me and done it with my own children. All sorts, from going down on the beach, looking at the different shells and making wind chimes and stuff. But there is a lot that I learn here that I take back home with me. And it promotes family time, quality family time as well. There's the 5 ways to well-being, and there's connect, be active, keep learning, give, and take notice. And when you take, I always forget them. I have to like read up on them every time. But when you take them out with you and you sort of concentrate on doing something of each on the walk, it really sort of grounds you, makes you appreciate everything, slows you down. I think it's a worthwhile way to live.
Were you interested in nature before, Kay? Or is this quite a new interest for you?
I've always been interested, but I didn't know that about it and I didn't know how to approach it. When we went to that project with Wordsworth Trust, I held a book that was like over 100 years old. I think it was 18th century, wasn't it? 18th century. And he let me hold it, and I was like honoured. And then he asked me if I wanted to read from it, and I did.
Oh wow!
And that's stuck in my mind ever since.
What did you read?
About the daffodils.
So it was William Wordsworth's original writing of Daffodils poem. So yeah, it was his actual journal, which was...
That's what I read from, and I was like blown away. And then I started getting into it more and started coming to more of the sessions because I thought, oh, it's not for me. And then I started thinking about it and I thought, do you know what it is? I like it. I love doing this. And I love reading and writing about it and talking about it. And then some days you get to the point where, no, I don't want to do it. And then you go, do you know what? I'll do it. And then I feel better. You just have to push yourself sometimes, especially when you've got a bit of a low, you're a bit low. And then when you do this, it just brings it all back and it's good.
And so I guess joining together, bring a calming essence and try and bring the feel of when you're down at the beach back into the room, and just trying to replicate that in some way.
I love that ocean drum.
Well, what an amazing set of interviews there. I think, Alasdair, I think at times, if we work within nature conservation and we're engulfed in it a lot, we kind of end up taking it for granted.
I think you're right, Joe. Yes, we're used to it. We have that in our lives, and I think in a lot of cases people they either they don't know it's there or they don't have access to it. It's difficult for them to get to it, and just bringing that to people. And we were chatting a little bit earlier before we started about the idea. People think, biodiversity, that's something that happens in the Amazon or in a rainforest in the Congo, but it's not. It's everywhere. So the people there on the beaches on Walney, and they're finding, the mermaids' purses, which are basically shark egg cases, incredible things, and all the remarkable shells and the seaweeds. But then also there was that lovely moment that the lady's talking about is the sound of the pebbles when they get washed up and then they rattle back, and it's quite hypnotic. People listen to things like that on the internet or buy recordings of it, and it's there just on your doorstep.
And I think like you say, it's as much just about getting out and experience that, sitting in my back garden listening to your birds, that kind of thing. Again, you don't have to go to wonderful nature reserves. It's really good to go to wonderful nature reserves as well with rare species, but you don't have to go to those, do you? Because it's all around us. Like just my walk here along the canal today was absolutely wonderful on a beautiful spring morning.
No, it is all around, exactly. I noticed that walking in, we're hearing chiff-chaffs, one of the first little warblers that comes back from Africa. They do what they say on the tin, there's a little chiff-chaff sound, and that to me says, whoa, they're back. That's another year started. And I think that sense of having a bit of a rhythm as well, realising that there are different seasons, because often in life when you do going to work and doing all the same things, it just feels like you're in a loop, doesn't it? But if you get a sense of, these birds are back, these flowers are out, all these things are happening, then it really does give you a bit of a pattern, a bit of a rhythm to the year, which is important.
However, caveat to that, it adds stress in my life, because every time spring starts, I'm like, I don't want to miss anything before the end of spring. And then within a few weeks, it's gone and we're on to the summer. summer's beautiful as well, but it's not the same as the vibrancy of spring with the excitement of all these things. You know, a butterfly came through my garden. Did it come into yours?
Wow.
A brimstone just the other morning. Oh. Brimstone in the back garden. Absolutely superb.
Spring is Christmas Eve when everything's still wrapped up and
Absolutely.
It's just anticipation.
Absolutely.
Whereas the middle of summer is, you know, the kind of Christmas Day afternoon, semi-conscious after the lunch, you know. But
that's very true. Yeah, and then the late summer is really quite. That's the snooze, isn't it?
That's Boxing Day.
Yeah, that's the afternoon snooze. Brilliant. I'd just like to say about these fantastic projects that the Bay Project is running. They're funded through the government funds the Bay Project. It's in a partnership with the NHS, and people do get prescribed to go. You know, therefore keeping people out of the health service. And then it's the National Lottery Community Fund that actually funds the next project we're going to hear about, which is a project called Time in Nature, and this is Yolanda, who also works for the Bay Project. Now, there are a few of these take place. There's one in Carlisle, there's one in Penrith, one in Workington, and one in Barrow. And the one that happens that Yolanda runs in the Plumgarth Garden on a Friday. And this is specifically for dementia sufferers and their carers. And yeah, let's have a listen, because they get such an amount out of being out in the garden and experiencing that. It's quite wonderful.
I'm Yolanda. I work for Cumbria Wildlife Trust, mostly on a programme called The Bay, A Blueprint for Recovery. However, I also run Kendall's Time in Nature sessions, and these are monthly sessions for people with dementia and their companions, based around getting outside, enjoying nature and doing things for nature.
Tell me what happens.
Well, for example, today we will have a spring bingo sheet, and they'll have photos of things that we find in the garden around spring, like daffodils, wild garlic, sun, hopefully, if the sun comes out. And the challenge is to try and find as many of those as we can.
Can you tell me a bit about the people who come?
So the sessions are for people with dementia or similar illnesses, and also their companions. Some people live independently and go to all sorts of different clubs and activities. Others come from residential homes, and it's just a lovely way for people to connect with each other and to be outside in nature. I think there's something really helpful about being outdoors and also doing something useful to help nature and wildlife.
How does coming outside and being in nature help them?
So I think for most people, being outside in nature in itself is very helpful, can be very soothing, and also people living with dementia often struggle to get outside as much as they perhaps would like to or otherwise used to be able to do. So people who have dementia usually are no longer able to drive. People who are living in care homes might not be able to get out of the care homes very much, so it can be a really lovely special opportunity for people to be outside and to be enjoying Cumbria Wildlife Trust's lovely gardens, and particularly at this time of year when all the flowers are just starting to come out, and also hopefully doing something to help nature and help wildlife will be really helpful for people as well.
So Yolanda, you told me about a sort of additional benefit which the people with dementia get. And it's to do with their sort of long-term memory as opposed to their short-term memory, isn't it?
Yeah, so I often find that these sessions are really good for jogging people's memories. So people will often get talking about living in the countryside when they were children, or holidays that they've previously done. Sometimes I bring a portable rock pool to these sessions, and that's really good for jogging people's memories of trips to the seaside as well.
There seem to me to be two advantages to coming to these sessions. So one is being out in nature and the other is being in a sort of social situation.
Yeah, so again, people with dementia, they often struggle to get out much. They might be seeing the same few people again and again, for example, carers. So this provides a nice opportunity for people to meet people who they wouldn't otherwise meet. And just enjoy a sociable afternoon out in the sunshine, hopefully. It's lovely to see the difference that it can make to somebody's day. And also, even though people might not remember the session for that long, some do and some don't, I think kind of the happy feeling lasts for a long time. So even if people can't exactly remember what they did yesterday, they can remember that they had a really nice time.
So we're back out in the garden now, and I'm joining Heather and Denise and Miranda to learn a bit more about what's going on today. So can you tell me what you've found so far? I see you've got your bingo sheets. Tell me what you're doing.
Yes. Well, there are lots of things here, but the sun is half out, half in, but it's there. And daffodils.
And Denise?
Hellebore, daffodil, some garlic, blue sky.
So do you enjoy coming to Plumgarths every month?
Yes. Well, we live very close, so it's easy to come, yes.
And what sort of things do you like about being here?
I just like all the nature things.
And have you always been interested in nature and in gardens?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I was born in Hatfield, which is rather a long way away, but my dad did a lot of gardening as well, because at that time, of course, the war had been on, so there wasn't a lot of stuff around, so he did a lot there. And he worked at de Havilland's aircraft factory as well.
Okay,
But yeah, it was a good place to be. Educationally, it was a very good place to be.
And Denise, have you always been interested in nature and gardens?
Yes, yes.
Can you remember gardening or going out into nature when you were a child?
Yes.
What was that like?
Very good, that's why. You get interested in everything, yeah.
How does coming here to Plumgarths, how does that feel? Is that something enjoyable that you look forward to?
So far it's been very good, yes. I really like it. Good value, yeah. I enjoy being in the outside anyway,
So do you get outside as much as you used to do?
Well, I'm a bit older than I used to be when I went out a lot. Yes, we did used to go out a lot walking and seeing different places. Yes. No, it's a lovely place to be.
It is.
Lovely area to be.
It is, it's really nice. Yeah.
But it's not just people who suffer from dementia themselves who are here. So Miranda, tell me what you're doing here today.
Well, I bring Denise and Heather as a carer who work for Busy Bears. We come out because they like to be outside. It's nice to have something organised that's a bit different that I haven't thought of doing with them. Yolanda is really good with them. It's nice to see them get involved with the other people. It's nice to see them interacting with each other. Often it evokes memories of when they were little that they talk about.
This event is of help not just to them, it's equally good for carers and relatives who bring along people with dementia.
Yes, I'm sure it's good for relatives because they can come and they can just sit back and watch what's going on and just watch their relatives having a nice time, really.
They can be off duty for a short while, I guess, can't they?
Exactly, off duty's good.
And does the fact that it's outdoors, does that make a difference?
Outdoors is good. A lot of these people used to walk loads, spent a lot of time outside in the garden. So as I say, a lot of their memories come back of things they did when they were little or during the war, obviously. So yes, it is good that it's outside.
And I guess for some people with dementia, life becomes quite circumscribed, doesn't it? They're much more indoors than they would have ever been before.
Yes, of course they do, because some are frightened to go out and they've got no one to go with, so this offers that opportunity that they can come here, which is great.
So it's a change as much as anything else.
It is a big change, yeah.
So what is it about these sessions then?
They're very relaxed. They get very involved in them.
You just said they were very relaxed. Can you explain that a bit? How this afternoon in nature helps them with their stress levels?
I'm not sure I can explain how it helps them, but it definitely does help them. They'll just forget about anything that they're worried about and they just become completely absorbed in what's going on here. So the only thing that matters at the moment is that we're in the garden, we're looking at the flowers, we're talking about the birds, but we're not thinking about the fact we don't know where we are or what else might be worrying us when we're at home on our own.
Is it something that people like Heather and Denise look forward to?
Not in the same way that we look forward to something. But once they're here and they see the owl, funnily enough, then they remember that they had a good time last time they were here.
So much more important for them to be in the moment.
Yes, much more important, just to be out.
Well, again, what a fascinating series of interviews there, and it shows how those people and their carers are getting so much out of that time on a Friday and being able to spend it in the quiet and the peace of the Plumgarth garden. Again, off mic, we were just talking, weren't we, Alasdair, about how dementia affects so many of us, you know, and so many of us know people with dementia or had relatives of people with dementia or are dealing with it at the moment. It's such a great thing to be able to give those people that experience and their carers to give them that kind of respite as well.
Absolutely. It's a kind of win-win-win, this, I think, because you're helping the people with dementia, giving this experience, as you say, helping the carers, and then, as in both the clips we've listened to, people are actually going out and doing stuff that's helping nature as well. They're learning about it, they're helping clear things up, they're doing positive things. And an interesting point in that interview there about people with dementia may not remember exactly what they've done, but they will remember the emotion of it. They have that emotional memory of a positive time, and that they may see something. Well, there was a mention of the owl bringing back that memory, and you can probably explain the
owl.
So
the owl is actually a carved owl that welcomes you as you pull into Plumgarth down the drive, and it was a tree that we had to remove because it was ill and it was going to fall on the cars. And we thought, well, let's get somebody in who's very talented in the woodwork, and they made this beautiful owl with these badges at the bottom. So. And for any of our listeners, if you ever visit Plumgarth, you'll see the owl as you come in. The other thing, so we need to talk about ospreys as well. Ospreys came back this morning, as we mentioned earlier. And we're talking about access to nature and how access to nature is so important. And the access to nature through the osprey cameras was so important to so many people's lives during lockdown, when we were all stuck in our houses and had those restrictions on where we could go. And people were writing in all these beautiful messages about how the osprey cams and following the story of the ospreys throughout that season had helped them so much through that time.
We got some lovely messages via our social media accounts, people who were very ill, or they had some other illness that meant they just couldn't go outside because of the risk. It's not just seeing the nest, the fact that on the webcams you can see the whole reserve. I like looking at the cameras. Well, we've got one of our very fancy cameras runs through YouTube, and you can actually wind it back in time. And I like to wind it back to sunrise while I'm still in bed and see these beautiful sunrises, and you see the dusk falling, and you see all sorts of other things, you know, the sneaky crows trying to get onto the nest, or owls. And there's night vision on the camera, so you can watch the ospreys asleep if you want something very restful. Or occasionally an owl will hop onto the nest, and that can cause some interesting interactions with the ospreys. But yes, some people who were really stuck and feeling really quite lost became so involved with the ospreys. And then we've had people come all the way from London, you know, because they wanted to...
From Canada?
From London.
I know, but somebody came from Canada
yes.
and came over to see our ospreys. I don't think they actually knew how far away they were once you get to Foulshaw.
Yes.
You get such a better view on the screen through the webcams than you do actually looking at the nest, because it is quite a long way away, isn't it? I mean, you sit there every weekend showing people where it is.
Well, also, if you get a bit of a heat haze on the bog, it'll be quite tricky.
Yeah.
At certain times, once the chicks have fledged and they're all out, and often we will have 5 or more ospreys flying around, people get to see them then, and that's always very exciting. But the thing about the cameras is that you can watch, you can wind back, you can see all the big moments when the first egg is laid, or when the first chick emerges, or when the first one flies. Yeah. And again, as we said earlier, it's that kind of sense of a rhythm, sense of something going on, and just these extraordinary birds with a nearly 6-foot wingspan that will dive from 30 metres up into the water and catch a fish, and then go through this whole amazing life cycle with the chicks, and then in September will fly 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometres all the way to West Africa, and then go through this cycle again. And there's something really magical about that kind of takes you out of yourself as well, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And always coming back to the same nest and the same pair. It's such a beautiful story, isn't it? Because we don't know that with lots of the the smaller birds and the passerines, because we have to say millions of birds do this, don't they? Millions of birds go to sub-Saharan Africa and back every year, right from the tiniest little ones to these great big mammoth birds. I was going to say about the cameras as well, because we've put a lot of time and effort into making that experience as good as possible. And just recently we put in a new camera that shows the perching post where the male often perches with its fish when it's coming to and from. And that was just the perfect place to watch him this morning when he first came back and caught himself a dab in the estuary and was sat up there on his favourite perching post. And go on, tell us about our new surprise.
Well, we have our pair, our osprey pair, have been there since 2013, and they've been breeding. They first bred in 2014, and in that time she has laid 33 eggs and fledged 29 of them, which is quite remarkable. Our male, is from a nest at Bassenthwaite that was the first osprey nest in England for over 150 years. So he is a real pioneer of the return of ospreys to England. And then they have had all these chicks, and some of them have gone on and had grand chicks. So we've had all these generations. But last year we were joined by another young pair of ospreys, 2 3-year-olds. One of them was from Cumbria as well. And they built themselves, it was a bit of a play nest really. It's a bit late in the season, but they're only 3 years old. They're not quite ready for chicks yet. But they built themselves, it's a bit of a bad hair day of a nest, just kind of sticks going everywhere. Yeah. But they were very proud of it. And we're hoping that they've been given a little bit of a helping hand this year, a bit more of a platform that might be a bit safer for some eggs to go on it. But they're far enough away from the other nest that there shouldn't be too much aggro between them. They've got their own route over to the estuary. And if all goes to plan, if they end up having chicks, we could have, possibly 10 ospreys flying around, which would be quite amazing. But we don't know yet. We've just got to wait and see who comes back.
Yeah, and whether they lay eggs in this first year. I mean, it does seem like that would be the normal process, wouldn't it? We'd expect them to lay eggs and bring up chicks this time. So that's ridiculously exciting. We haven't got a camera on that nest at the moment where the public can view it because we don't know what's going to happen. Yes. But it is quite close to the boardwalk, isn't it? So it can afford good views.
It is. There's a new little hide has been set up to view this new nest. So they better come back. Well, that would have been a waste of timber. We keep hoping. We just have to wait and see.
So make sure you make the most of your spring. Get out. I'll be talking about spring again next month, don't worry, because we'll be in absolutely full swing. Whether you can make it to our nature reserves or whether it's just in your local patch. And we shall see you all next month. Thank you very much, Alasdair.
Thank you. And remember to tune into the Osprey webcam from the Cumbria Wildlife Trust website.
Brilliant. And a brilliant big thanks to Liz as well for making this all happen.